How's it going, YouTube? Yeah, Patmac here, taking over Matrix's channel for a moment. He recently joined the league and asked if anyone would be willing in doing some of the draft league behind-the-scenes work for him. So I offered, drafted his team, and we'll probably do a little bit of building for it. And I have kept Matrix in the dark. So Matrix is here with me, but has no idea what team we drafted. You want to say hi, Matrix?
Yo guys, it's Matrix here, coach of the Welsh Wailords.
Yeah, and he's got no idea. So we're just going to run through...
No idea.
Yeah, we're going to run through the team together. I have some clues for him, so we'll test your Pokemon knowledge. Some of them are about abilities, some of them are about like Pokedex entries, some are even about stuff that happens in the anime, so we're going to test how much you really know about Pokemon. It's going to be very exciting.
I feel like I've got a good knowledge of like most mons. Like I feel that's where I'm good at draft, where I've got a real deep knowledge of like every mon's moveset, abilities, stat lines, and everything. Just like a general feeling for things. But like if there's anime stuff, ooh.
Yeah, there's not too much of that. Yeah, there's not too much of that going on, but you know, we got a little bit. Mix it up some.
Ah, sounds fun.
Yep. So let's just dive right in. So our first pick, here's the clue for it. This Pokemon has not one, not two, but 3 immunities. It also has ways to boost its attack, defense, and speed. While it is new to Scarlet and Violet, it is one of the first Pokemon we knew about. This Violet exclusive also has ways to heal itself. Which Pokemon was picked first?
You know, looking at the first clue there, it's like it makes you think about, wow, okay, 3 immunities. It's got to be a ghost type because of, you know, you can have, well, at least I that's the way I initially presume. I don't know of any other mods. Like I think of like Aegislash. You know, I know this isn't going to be Aegislash because it's not in the game, but like Aegislash has got like normal fighting and poison immunity.
Right.
There's not many mons that have 3 immunities, so I'm going to presume it's like Ghost helps get the 2, and then it's going to be an ability immunity. The one thing I will say is that as I read through that entire clue, I think I know who it is. And as you go through, it's like starts off hard and then like wow, okay, and yeah, okay. Like it really becomes quite clear by this Violet exclusive. Like I think that gives it away a real bit, a lot. But it's Ceruledge.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so we ended up picking up Ceruledge here. I just thought it was a cool Pokemon. Cool. You know, like it's new. You know, want to give it a try.
No, I think that's really cool. I can't say always wanted, but since we started it going into like Scarlet Violet, it's a mon that I've been toying with the idea of drafting, and yeah, I've only done 1 draft so far, 2 drafts, and it's like it's one of those mons I'm always on the board like, do I want it? Do I not want it? You know, I find fire types really hard to decide between. So I'm pretty stoked to use Ceruledge. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of really good fire types, but having Flash Fire just makes it so that all the other fire types don't seem quite as scary, you know?
It's also good with Terra. Like you can Terra into Steel, you can Terra into Grass more safely with this mon.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing Terramon, I think. Yeah. All right, let's move to our next clue here. Before this gen, there was only one Pokemon with this Pokemon's ability. The typing of this Pokemon was also unique to one Pokemon previous to this Pokemon, bringing a unique ability that makes every Hex Pokemon squeal with glee. This Pokemon is the ultimate hazard setter. Which Pokemon was picked second?
So I was trying to think about it, like the ability thing. I'm thinking, who the hell's only got I like the ability bits had me stumped. The typing of the Pokemon was also unique, and I was trying to think. It's a poison type, and then as soon as you said the Hex, I was like, yo, it's gonna be it's gotta be it, because of like I've got it in another league, and I'm like there's so many times I've been trying to figure out how can I make a Hex set work with this mon, because I have a physical ghost type in that league, so I had to get a second physical ghost type just so I could get Hex. But it is Glamora.
Oh, definitely, yeah. No, Glamora is super sweet. Yeah, I figured this was another one that would be new mon, you know? New mon syndrome, right? You just got to pick up all the new ones going in. Okay, yeah, so question, do you know what Pokemon had... so Toxic Spikes is obviously new, right? Yeah, Salazzle would be the other one. And then the unique Pokemon with its typing?
Nihiligo.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, super cool Pokemon. I actually really like this Pokemon. I kind of wonder if Nihilego was in the game, which Pokemon I'd like more. And I'm honestly not sure. I think they're both very cool.
I think I would prefer Glimora. I really like Glimora's coverage.
It does have really good coverage. Yeah, ground
like,
coverage is amazing.
Yeah, honestly, Earth Power on it is so nice. Like it's Power Gem, Earth Power, Sludge Bomb is obviously its go-to moves, but you've got stuff like it gets Spiky Shield, and that's such a cool thing.
Yes, yeah, that's also really cool. So, what do you think of these two as our first two picks?
Cerulege is really fun. It's not one I'd usually pick myself like immediately type thing. I definitely consider it like if I'm looking for a fire type and I haven't got a ghost type already, because I feel like ghost is such a I like ghost types, so I have to always be careful of how many I can get. Glimora is I've got it in another league, so it is repeating a mon that I've used it elsewhere. But I really like Glimora over there. Like I'm starting to use it a lot more. It's actually the crux of one of my upcoming matches, draft plans. So,
oh, very exciting.
Which is tomorrow anyway, so it should be tomorrow as of recording this. So shouldn't be giving away too much from my opponent there.
Yeah. Okay, let's head on to our next clue. This Pokemon is loved by chefs. In fact, the primary ingredient is used by nearly every chef in the world. This third evolution also has a unique ability this generation that Grafaiai, Hawlucha, and Thievul absolutely love. Which Pokemon was picked third?
Okay, so it's a mon that it produces something, or like when you say they're loved by chefs, I started thinking about like fire types to help them, or like a mon that produces something to as an ingredient. This one is a little bit less clear, but then they say primary ingredient, so it's got to be like a grass type or something, or maybe I don't know. I know some mons produce maybe bug types, but I don't think anything like that. The third evolution has a unique ability to this gen, so probably, and with it being Grafaiai, Hawlucha, and Thievul, they all have Unburden. So I'm going to presume it's a terrain setup, but there's only one mon with terrain, I think, that was introduced this gen. It's the Seed Sower ability. It's Arboliva. Arboliva?
Yep.
I call it the olive.
Yeah, exactly, right? Olives, right? Chefs love olives. Olive oil is amazing.
Olive oil is,
you know?
Yes, very good, very good.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the I can't pronounce it, but Arboliva.
That's how I say it too. I don't know.
Arboliva. I really like that one because it's one I really wanted to draft in another league, and it got sniped before I could get it, and so I ended up having a mid-draft grass type identity crisis, and was often considering Tropius. Never considered Tropius ever again. And so I started using it in Series 1 team. I had this really cool Arboliva set with Bella Bolt and some combos like that. And
nice. Yeah, no, I really wanted to grab this next because it gave us a ghost immunity, so like it worked really well with Cerulege. In fact, I think Cerulege and Arboliva might be really good pairing just in general.
That's true. Because of what's also nice about that is that Arboliva is a little bit is a lot slower, not a little bit. It's a lot slower. It has considerable bulk.
Yeah,
it's a special
really
attacker, which I feel like there isn't much of this gen. Like in terms of good special attackers that don't like overlap with themselves.
Right.
And what's really unique about this one is that the bulk, but also it's got that ghost immunity for Cerulege, and it's also got the Cerulege provides the fighting immunity for that and the fire immunity for it. But it also has the ground resistance for Glimora and Cerulege.
Yep. And being able to set grassy terrain means that moves like Earthquake will do less if people want to try to go for that. So it's a big deterrent, I think.
That's also true.
Yeah.
But we appreciate a harvest ability as well. That's always
yes,
fun.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think harvest is a really cool ability. But I mean, you look at this mon and you just think Seed Sower, like it's so cool.
Oh yeah, I really like terrain combos as well. Like I don't even think you need to use Unburden. I've used a Misty Terrain team before without Unburden, and I love the seed boost, especially defensive seed boost, because you can get Assault Vest for special defense, but like getting a defensive boost with Grassy Seed is really fun.
Yeah, it actually works kind of nice with Cerulege because Cerulege has better special defense. Yeah, so getting a grassy seed boost on that would be really nice. So, Okay, let's go on to our fourth clue here. This next Pokemon is always undervalued on tier lists and is always picked so early for that reason. Trainers think this Pokemon evolves when it bulks up because its evolution looks like it hit the gym. However, this tricky little gremlin is slim and doesn't need to hit hard for its impact to be felt on the battlefield. Which Pokemon was picked fourth?
That was really difficult to start with because there's so many mons that can be undervalued and like lowered down. But I think those later clues really help. When it bulks up, that one's an interesting one. Because its evolution looks like it hit the chin. However, this tricky little gremlin, I think the gremlin bit there, I think that's the biggest key, is slim and doesn't need to hit hard for its impact to be felt. So it's more of a supportive role. I'm going to say Morgrem.
Yep. There it is right there. And like Grimmsnarl, right? Grimmsnarl looks like it hit the gym.
The bulk up is reference to it getting bulk up, right?
Yeah, I believe it. So I know Grimmsnarl gets bulk up. I actually don't know if Morgrem does, but it was mostly just that like Grimmsnarl looks so much bulkier, right? Like it's got all that. It looks like it got muscles, you know?
Yeah, all that hair.
Yeah.
No, I really like Morgan. I used it in one of my very first draft leagues. I think it was my second draft league back in UGA in the very first season, and it was so good. It just like I had it paired with Arcanine in the times where Arcanine would come in, intimidate, and snarl. Morgan would just screens. It would waste the Dynamax turns on the opponent. I completely walled this Gmax Lapras team, which is supposed to be a really bulky team,
right?
And like I completely outwalled them, and it was so fun. Morgrem is literally the first Prankster mon I ever used in draft, so I'm actually really excited to bring that back. And screens, I feel this gen more so than a non-Dynamax format of the last gen. Screens are really important, like they're so valuable.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, you know, because you don't know what coverage your opponent has, so getting up screens to give yourself the extra bulk that your typing might not be able to give you is a really nice option to have. Yeah. Okay, let's go and take a look at our...
Crushing these.
Let's go and take a look at our next clue here. So this next Pokemon is one of 4 different forms. Some trainers think this Pokemon has a symbiotic relationship with another Pokemon. However, in reality, this Pokemon is just being eaten. It doesn't look like it can have an intelligent thought, but I'm sure it wishes it could be like its relative that learned to wear the shell like a hat. Which Pokemon was picked 5th?
One of 4 different forms?
that clue has got you. I can see it.
Yeah, like the rest of them, it pulls it towards like it's either Slowbro or Slowking, but does Slowbro or Slowking count as being one form of different? Like obviously there's 2 Gallo variants, so I'm sure it wishes it could be like its relative that learned to wear the shell like a hat. Like that's Slowking. So is this Slowbro?
Yep, this is Slowbro. I thought of the Slowbro, Slowking, and the Galarians as like 4 different forms of this kind of Pokemon.
Okay. That's it. Slowbro is fun. I've got it again. This is wild. Like you've picked this team randomly, but I've got Slowbro in another league with Glamora at the moment. Like I've used Slowking in the previous season, the last season I ever did actually. And then I thought, oh, I'll give Slowbro a try. And like I don't know if it's the right team for Slowbro, but I just don't feel like I can ever really get it to work at the moment over there. But I think it's just due to having a few electric switch-ins because I don't really have a ground type. My grass type is frail as hell, so like it's really hard to then like get Slowking into a good position, Slowbro into a good position there. I've also got like 2 ghost types, so I'm double weak to Ghost and Dark already. So like it's very tricky to navigate. But I do like Slowbro as a mon. It's so bulky. It's got really good coverage moves, and you can run it especially offensive. You can run it Iron Defense setup, Trick Room support. It's just I think Slowbro is a really good mon. Like,
I 100% agree with you. Yeah,
simple.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wanted to pick it here because I wanted to give us a Trick Room option to go along with Arboliva. It does also complete the Fire, Water, Grass core, which is nice. Just a nice addition. So, yeah, no, I thought like...
Oh, all of them share different types so far as well, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. It's a part of how I draft, try to mix it up for types. Also, one thing kind of notice here, at the moment, our team is very specially offensive, which means that Ceruledge is going to be so strong because people are going to want to bring stuff like Assault Vest, want to bring really specially defensive mons, and then Ceruledge was just going to be able to hit so hard.
It's also nice that Glamora is a fast special attacker, well, medium to fast special attacker, and you've got one for Trick Room, so it's not like you're splitting your modes up to being physical and fast and special and slow.
Yep. Okay, let's go on to our next clue here. This Pokemon's pre-evolution is so powerful that some draft leagues ban it. Others put it at 1 point. However, this Pokemon has one of the best abilities against special attackers. With 2 double weaknesses and only 3 resists, many trainers believe this Pokemon has the worst type combination. Which Pokemon was picked 6th?
Oh, wow, that one's... Oh, I've got it. So I was literally looking at this going, what the hell is this? Like, I can't think of something that would ban it / put it at 1 point. And then one of the best abilities against special attackers, that only came to me once I'd already figured out who it is. And I really like doing the suspense for anyone who's watching this and doesn't know or can't figure it out. So like I'll reveal at the end. With 2 double weaknesses, and I'm thinking they're going, who's got 2 double weaknesses? And I'm thinking, Aggron? But like that's all that's going through my head. And like the worst type combination, I'm thinking Aurorus, ice and rock.
That's pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah, and that's got a double weakness, but I'm like, that's not in the game. It was the first clue that really helped me. This Pokemon's pre-evolution is so powerful. Snom. The powerful Snom. So this is Frostmoth with the Ice Scales ability.
Yep. That first clue, when I wrote it, I was like, oh, this is going to be so amazing. Because there's so many leagues that decide to ban Snom for some reason, but
I'm thinking I'm in a league that bans Shinx for similar reasons. For the meme, that has banned. I've been in a league that has banned Nummel, and it's like, so I'm there going, these have all got 4 times weaknesses. Which mon is it?
But not one that has double, right? This is like double fire and double steel.
Rock.
No, double rock. Yeah, double rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is wild. So
it's kind of nice though because of like the double fire weakness. You've got this Ceruledge, and like Terra, I think is Frostmoth's best friend.
Oh yeah, for
honestly.
sure.
I think that Frostmoth can be really powerful in a Terra format. Plus, it's a Quiver Dancer, which is really fun. At least I've got a Fake Out user, which is Morgrem. No redirection so far, but that's okay. And I like that it gets Wide Guard because in this gen, there's a lot of issues with like. So far, I found if I don't have Wide Guard, I've got to outpower them. But I've always wanted to use Frostmoth. It's a mon that I've always wanted to try, but I've just never had quite the courage to be like, okay, I'm going for it. Or
I know, same.
I've always found another way to like distribute my points and be like, oh, I can get 2 better mons here. Like I don't need Frostmoth. Plus, Ice and Bug isn't exactly a type you need in a draft. Like it's more of a if you got room for them, they can go on.
Yeah, it's like a luxury typing,
I just thought the only shame of it is if that Slowbro was Slowking, I could have done a chilly reception, set up hail, get something else in, not hail, snow, and then I have a defensive boost as well as the Ice Scales ability, and that's Frostmoth.
Yeah, no, that would have been pretty cool. Yeah, but I think Slowking was higher points than Slowbro was.
I imagine it would have been.
Yeah. I think they're fairly similar. I think even with Chilly Reception, I would probably put them at the same tier. But...
I always rank them together.
Yeah.
They're basically the same mon, just one's special, one's defensive.
Yeah. But so this one, for those who don't know, Frostmoth also gets Tailwind, so it gives us another...
of course it does.
Yeah, so it gives us another option for a fast mode here. We're a little slow at the moment. Our fastest mon is like 85 or 86 base speed, but having the option to go fast or slow, like Frostmoth can kind of fit into both. And then I believe it also, aside from Tailwind, might get Icy Wind as well. So potentially like a Scarf Icy Wind user and We already mentioned how good Terra is with it.
I think it's got a decent special attack, if I'm not mistaken. Like about
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
I think
Yeah,
it's
no, it's really good.
It's not as good as Volcarona, but like it's 125 is pretty respectable, especially with moves like Blizzard, Ice Beam, even Bug Buzz is pretty good as a neutral stab against a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just in general, our team has a lot of bulk at the moment with screens. And
we're very special at the moment.
We are very special, exactly. So I mentioned that earlier, but Sarah Ledge looks like it could totally pop off if people try to prep too hard for the special attacking side of things. So, okay. Clue 7. This Pokemon, along with its 7 other forms,
Evolution,
learned a new move this generation. This Pokemon is part of the original trio and is the fastest by a large margin. It also has an ability that makes it faster than its first generation relatives, even if they got a free agility. That's a double speed, by the way. Which Pokemon was picked 7th?
It's Jolteon.
Oh, but for sure.
That's actually really cool. I didn't realize that Quick Feet allowed it to be so fast, but obviously 1.5 times boost in it.
Yeah, and thankfully its other like Vaporeon and Flareon are fairly slow. They're like base 65 speed, but yeah, even with a free agility, I checked that and it was like, wow, even outspeeds them then.
I really like Jolteon. It's again, I actually had Jolteon on the same team I had Morgrem. So I'm really glad to see those two return. Been a long time since I've had them. I've wanted to draft Jolteon in a VGC League. So I going into this gen with Terra and everything, and it gets Calm Mind now, which is really helpful for it. I really, really like the idea of like a really offensive Jolteon. Like, I think it can really take advantage of it. Like 130 speed, 110 special attack isn't awful.
Oh, for sure, it's very good.
And it's got really good fast support with like I think it gets Fake Tears.
Not sure about that. I know it gets Eerie Impulse and Charm, but we do actually have Prankster Fake Tears.
That's true.
Yeah,
it gets Eerie Impulse now. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it has Eerie Impulse.
Oh, that's really good. Like,
I didn't know it didn't have it before, but yes, it does now.
I don't think it did. I could be wrong.
I don't know either. But yeah, so our team is still super special, right? Like that is still a potential problem. However, like, wow. Morgrem, Prankster, Fake Tears, all of our special attackers become nukes.
True. And I'm really glad that we've got like a fast mon onto the team again.
Yeah, our team was way too slow before. Actually, the turn that I picked Frostmoth, I was really considering a couple other picks, and that Frostmoth pick sniped like probably 3 or 4 different people. I picked it and then really immediately in chat.
Mid to late. Yeah, it's always good for like mid to late draft. I think it provides a lot of value if you can get past that rock weakness.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I don't think fire is a bad of a weakness into it because of like it's got ice scales. It kind of halves that most fire special attackers, but like rock is the crippling side of the weakness there.
Right, because rock slide. Yeah. But yeah, so it gives us a fast mode, which we really needed. So, okay, let's go on to our next clue here. This baby bird is the only Pokemon on our team that cost us 0 of our 550 points. However, this Pokemon is capable of creating the strongest winds.
Oh no.
In previous generations, it was always able to act first. However, now it only happens when it is healthy. Which Pokemon was picked 8th?
I've got its brethren in the other league again. I feel like this is half this that is literally mons I've used in like 1 or 2 other leagues. One of them I'm using at the moment, like 3 of them. It's Fletchling. It's got to be Fletchling. It's the only thing in that lower tier. Oh my god, Fletchling. I actually really like Fletchinder. Fletchinder's really good. Like I think it's a really good support, but Fletchling. Oof.
Yeah, so this was mostly a pick because a lot of people at this point. We didn't talk about this very much, but this was a points draft, and there was like 5 tiers, but you didn't have to pick a certain number of Pokemon from each tier. It was literally point values, and the last tier was 0 points. So there were several people who had picked up like several 100 or 75 pointers, which are like the first 2 tiers.
Yeah. And
at this point, they were like they only could pick 0 point Pokemon left. And so we dipped into the 0 point tier to pick up something that we thought would help the team out. And so this is similar to Frostmoth. It allows us to have Tailwind, but this time we have Prankster Tailwind, so we get even more speed control from that side of things. And that was the
that's
main idea behind this mon, was getting us prankster speed.
It gets quick guard as well. It's
Yep.
not all bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Fletchling is a pick, but I think if you're having to pick out of the E tiers, like 0 tiers, I know there's mons that I hate even more than Fletchling in there. There's like Bronzor. I hate Bronzor.
Oh yeah.
And, like at least Fletchling can do something. I'm pretty sure Fletchling still get access to Will-O-Wisp, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
but definitely another supportive option for the team. And we have a lot of like fairly hard-hitting Pokemon at the moment. I would say like probably 4 of our 5 Pokemon are really just here to hit hard, right? Ceruledge, Glamora, Arboliva, Jolteon, like they have some supportive options available to them, but for the most part, like they just want to hit hard. And so Fletchling is giving them the speed to make sure that they always get to act first and always have the chance to pick up those Okos.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go clue 9. This Pokemon has been one of the most popular since its introduction in Generation 4. It and its Mega Evolution have appeared in several Pokemon episodes under numerous trainers. It is also in Pokken, where it is a popular Pokemon there as well. It was the first Pokemon of its type combination, and there have only been 2 since, one of which was a legendary last generation. Which Pokemon was picked 9th?
You know, it was literally the last the last clue that got me, that gave it to me. For most of it, I was thinking, is it Garchomp? Like, it seems weird, but Garchomp wouldn't last this long into the draft. And then I'm like, it's not going to be Garchomp. And I was like, who is it? Like, has appeared in several Pokemon episodes under numerous trainers, and that's why I was like, I don't really over-include it with anime, but I've seen Garchomp a few times. Mm-hmm. It's not Garchomp, let me just make that clear. And that's because of the last clue, which is one of which was a legendary last gen, sharing a type. It's Lucario because of Fighting Steel.
Yep. Yeah, so Lucario was one we picked up here. We just wanted to have a steel type to give us some more of those resistances and to give us another physical attacking threat. At the moment, we only had Ceruledge, so Lucario gives us that other option.
I'm really appreciative of that. But I also like the fact that Lucario can also turn special attacker if it wants to.
Yes,
like, it has
very
that
true.
Flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
And although I don't know if this is going to give away too much of like any prep ideas that we're doing in the match. But what's cool about Lucario, I have used it in a league before, only a small one, and it gets moves like Final Gambit, not as strong as the Annihilate, obviously,
yeah.
And nowhere near as fast. But it's a cool scarf option if you want to. But it also gets the same technique as what Dragonite gets, which is extreme speed and normal terror, as that's a potential option as well. So there's actually a lot of flexibility you can do with Lucario. I like the fact that it's got an inner focus mod. So both my physical attackers are immune to fake outs, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and then you'd mentioned about the Terra normal option, and as well as having setup, right? Like Dragonite, one of the ways it gets it done is with
and bulk up, I think.
Also a sword stance, which that's the more important one for Terra normal extreme speed, right?
Yeah.
Getting that double damage up boost is pretty insane. So, yeah. I was actually, so let me go back to this clue. I remember I was writing this clue, and I got all the way till the end, and I didn't have this last sentence of one of which was a legendary legendary last gen, and I was like, I don't know if it's possible to guess this. Like, it was a tough one. So I felt like I had to give that last one in to have a chance, you know?
It took me a moment. I just couldn't, for some unknown reason, you'd think Lucario just would jump out at me, but because of Garchomp, it also would fit under everything up there except for the type combination.
Right.
Like, and I was thinking, no, it can't be Garchomp because Flygon. Like, it doesn't make sense. And I'm there going, and Garchomp just overshadows so much, and it's like, who is it? And I feel like a really cool clue might have been like it was like one of the only few mons that have a anime movie title, you know, because of the Ranger Lucario.
That would have been a good idea.
I know that's not the actual name.
That was outside of my anime knowledge, so I didn't even know that.
I only know it because I saw it on social media the other day.
Oh, gotcha. Alright, anyway, let's go over to pick 10 right now. Or I guess clue 10 here. So the Pokédex entry says this Pokemon is nearly 4 meters in height, but it looks significantly shorter. That's mostly because it coils and has a dangerous glare. This
Oh,
Pokemon's
I know
unique
who it is.
ability changes the battlefield in a way that is different than two other Pokemon on our team. Which Pokemon was picked 10th?
I know who it is, and I'm really excited because I've been wanting to use this so long, and I just never get around to drafting it. I'm thinking this Pokemon, the Pokedex, 4 meters in height or whatever. I'm thinking, well, it's not Executor. I'm thinking that's a tall boy, but
Right.
I think it's the significantly shorter. I'm thinking, oh, then maybe it's Gishmon, like how Viper and all that. All the long boys are all like really long in them, like in height, but like they're
Mm-hmm.
not actually. It's the full body length, and it's so annoying because like makes Dragonair like bigger than Groundon, which is stupid. And then that's mostly, and then it coils and has a dangerous glare. I was like, yep, this is definitely a snake glare. I love Arbok as well. Let me just say that, put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Glare with Arbok, chef's kiss. But this unique ability, I can't think of its name. I want to say the name of the ability, Sandspit. So it's Sandaconda.
Yep. There it is.
I'm really happy with the Sandaconda pick.
Yeah, no, this gives us kind of another mid-speed mon, and Glare is just even more speed control to add onto the team, which I think
Yes.
is awesome. And
Also, really happy that you've got a rock resist with the last two picks. Like Lucario
yes,
Step resist and Sandaconda resist. So it's really good. Wait, is every mon so far of a different type?
yes.
Huh, they are. Wait, which am I missing any types so far?
We
Yes,
technically have double normal. I believe the
Fletchling doesn't count then.
yeah, it's not a fire type yet. Other than it would have been double fire, but yeah, I think that's technically
Okay,
double
that's
normal.
not too
But
bad. That's
aside
not
from
too bad.
that,
That's not too bad.
yeah.
Oh, I really like the Sandaconda pick. That's a fun one.
Yeah, and it gives us more physical offense, right? Like we've been talking about how especially offensive our team was, and so it's good to diversify, right? As much as I
Yeah,
mentioned earlier on that like our previous picks would make Sarah Ledge look amazing, like people do need to kind of prep for a physical offensive side, and then we can of course have our special attackers hitting things too. So
I like the mid speed of Sandaconda as well. It's like it can be slow enough for some teams, fast enough for other teams with Tailwind. It
right.
gets some really cool coverage moves. It's really bulky, and I really like the Sandspit ability to pair with Glimora. I was actually looking at Sandaconda for pairing with Glimora in another in that other league. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Like you're getting some of the ones I've wanted to pick, and then the ones I just missed out on getting, like Jolteon, Arboliva, Sandaconda, and I was just missing out on getting them. But it's like you managed to get them here, which is actually really fun.
All right, sweet. Sounds like I've done a good job so far. Y'all hear that?
Something I really enjoy as well is synergy with its own ability and like changing from from ground to Terra Rock, getting Sandspit, get a special defense boost. Which, let's be honest, Sandaconda is very bulky in defense, so special getting a special defense boost is really handy for it,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives it the stab into rock slides and stuff. So
Yeah, no, that's totally true. Okay, let's go to our last pick. The goodest of boys. This Pokemon is an incredible companion. Its Pokedex entry says it loves playing with children, but don't let that fool you. It can also be an intimidating protector and quite the guard dog.
intimidating. Oh wait, now okay.
This Pokemon is tied with Koraidon and Miraidon for the most number of sandwiches eaten during the story. Which Pokemon was picked 11th?
This is crazy. Like this team is like half of the mons is literally what I'm using in my own league channel. And it's Mabostiff, which is such a cool mod. I'm surprised Mabostiff lasted this long, man, into this league.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was kind of keeping an eye on keeping an eye on it for a while. I think like around like pick 3 or 4, I was like, oh man, I really want to use this mod. Like I really want to try it out, kind of thing. And yeah, it lasted all the way to the end, which is wild.
That is
So
wild. I honestly like Intimidate's a good ability as well. And let me just say, like I've been using Mabostiff in the other league. I really like Mabostiff. It's similar to Arcanine, but not as strong in my opinion.
mhm.
But it's still got a decently good defensive typing in Dark, especially as its primary weaknesses are like fighting and bug. Let's say it's only really weak to Fairy in that regard because like Intimidate covers most of fighting types.
Yep.
So like yeah, I don't know. I really I like Mabostiff. It's been really fun. so far prepping with. I think it supports the team well. It's pretty fun to have Intimidate on the team as well, especially as it helps the Ceruledge and Frostmoth out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Jolteon, because I think Jolteon's got a weaker defense. Could be wrong with
that. Yes, it does. Yeah, it has a weaker defense. So yeah, so here's the final team. What are your thoughts on it overall? Now that you got everything in front of you.
Yeah, there's some really good synergy within the team, but like what's more important, I think, is that every mon individually is pretty well, except for Fletchling, you don't count. Every mon individually is pretty good standalone. So like they're all like decent stats on every single one of the mons. Like Arboliver is like 500 or something, Jolteon is 500 or something, and Jolteon I think was like tier 3. So they've all got really good stats, which I think is important in a generation like this, where, or at least in this format, where Terra type can be quite volatile towards the game. And it's in a way that it can kind of lead to unpredictable situations. So having that natural bulk, those natural stats points, can be really good to help you with longevity, for helping you get more damage on like neutral hitting hits where you think it should be super effective. So like it helps you recover a lot better inside that type of surprise aspect. But also like just having standalone good mons is really good. I think the synergy's pretty good as well. It's not like overly apparent, the synergy, but it's the type of synergy that I really appreciate. It's like a more of a nuanced form where you have to look a little bit deeper into the team to really appreciate some of the complex or synergistic interactions they all have.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually mentioned one while we were doing this video that I hadn't considered, but Sandspit being able to set up Sandstorm to buff the rock typing of Glamora was something that I didn't even consider at all when I was drafting it. My thought process was like, oh, we kind of need a rock resist, and we kind of need a ground type, and we kind of need some more physical offense. So yeah.
I also tie Sandaconda with Donphan, so like I was looking at both of those for the same type of reason in a previous draft. So like it's pretty similar.
Yeah, Sandaconda was less points than Donphan in the draft, so
yeah,
that was kind of nice.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah. One thing that I will say is kind of interesting about this team versus probably most teams that people will see in the league is that we have no tier 1 Pokemon. Everything we have from the draft side of things was tier 2 or below. Which is kind of...
I thought Ceruledge was tier 1. I thought they'd put it in tier 1.
Nope. Yeah, I think it is solid. I don't know if I personally would put it as a tier 1 Mon, but there were also a couple Pokemon in tier 1 that I wouldn't have put there. So, is what it is, you know?
I think the other thing to like make a note of is I've seen, I think maybe a couple picks from another team types of thing, and the power level that you can get from this type of draft, it's not the same as some of the other leagues on my that I've done on my channel. Like the overall power is so much lower on the draft team because of how restricted the points are.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal opinion. Like 550 for 11 mons is because it's there's point tierings is 100, 75, 50, 25, right. 0.
Right.
So it's the same as like any other like free draft points you've seen in other draft leagues. And when you consider like most leagues will do a tier list, they have their standard tiers like they required picks, and they give you like 3 or 4 free draft picks, and then they give you a point limit. And usually that point limit for like 3 mons is 200, for 4 mons it's 250.
Right.
So you're getting 4 mons for 250 points. Wherefore, if you translate that over to here, if you doubled it, your picks, that's 500 points for 8 mons. We've only got 50 points to make up 3 extra mons.
Right. Yeah.
So when you look at it like that, you naturally see that the power levels of all the teams will be very one-sided. They'll either be really high and really low with their like 0 pointers, 50 pointers, and then. So I really appreciate the fact that you can go down the middle a little bit and just be like, okay, well, I'm not going to go overly high, because if I have a plethora of good mid-powered mons, like nothing overly OP, but still pretty good and diverse, then you've got a much deeper team than many other people in the league.
Yeah, I would argue that our team is probably the most well-rounded out of any team that's in the league. We actually have quite a few 70-point mons, though, so we have quite a few tier 2s. So
Which
Saralege.
is really fun. I love tier 2.
Oh,
Tier 2
yeah.
is my favorite place
Yeah.
to be.
Saralege, Babastiff, Arboliva, Glamora, and Lucario. So those 5 Pokemon were also in the tier 2 slot.
Okay, I wasn't sure if Lucario would be tier 2 or tier 3, but that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, pretty cool team. I'm pretty excited to see how it does. And I think the plan is for me to build most of the teams and then for you to end up playing it kind of blind, right?
Basically, that's pretty much how we're going about it.
Okay.
Thereabouts. I don't think I like if you're happy to just go for it and do that, that's perfectly fine by me. So yeah.
Yeah, and we'll probably mix it up. There'll probably be weeks where I'm like just not able to put something together in time for you, but we'll figure it out. So
something I did have a question of is like, did you do? So I don't know because I've not had access at all to any of this. But did you have like any grace trades? Nothing like that. No, you didn't use any grace trades.
I didn't use any grace trades. I think there was the option of using some, but I liked the team as it was. There were a couple snipes that we had throughout. So like on the pick that we had Morgrim, which was our pick 4, I was really trying to get Klefki. Klefki would have been amazing. At the time, we had Saralege, Glamora, Arboliva. So Klefki would have given us Prankster Screens. It would have given us Trick Room. And it would have given us Prankster T-Wave. So it would have been like the ultimate support Pokemon that I think would have worked with those 3 at the time. But honestly, I'm really good with Morgrim. Like Parting Shot gives us some nice pivot. It still has T-Wave. It still has Screens. The only difference is it didn't have Trick Room, right? And we patched that up by getting Slowbro.
Yeah, one of the other things that Klefki would have provided as well is like it gets a sunny day, and that really helps like Saralage's damage and Arboliva's harvest.
Yeah. So there were definitely some things that like, so that was probably the snipe that hurt the most, I would say. But honestly, like I'm totally good with Morgrim. Like as I mentioned in the clues, I think it's super undervalued. Like this Pokemon probably should have been tier 3. It was tier 4.
Oh wow, okay, I didn't realize it was tier 4. I was expecting it to be tier 3.
Yeah, so I guess let me run through kind of the tiers here. So I mentioned all of our tier 2 Pokemon, right? The tier 3 Pokemon that are on our team are Slowbro and Jolteon.
Wow, okay. I was surprised with Slowbro. That's a really good value.
Mm-hmm. And then tier 4 was Frostmoth, Sandaconda, Morgrim. And then tier 5 for Fletchling.
Sandaconda, wow.
Yeah.
Like I expected Sandaconda to be like a tier 3 mod. Wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got some really good value picks. Like I said, I appreciate tier 4 would be Frostmoth. Yeah, sure.
I think it should be tier 4. There was a little bit of discussion after among the coaches about if it should be 3 or 4, but
I think it's a tier 4 mod in this draft where you've got that 5th tier. It's just on the limit.
Yeah, it's because like it's just not. So I mentioned that it's a greedy Pokemon. Like it needs Terra, and if it needs Terra, then your other Pokemon aren't able to Terra. And so I think
that's true. That's if you want to run it offensively and you don't mind it being like a sacrificial piece.
Right, yeah. So pretty wild, but
seems pretty good. I'm excited to try the team out. I hope I don't disappoint you. That's for sure. With my plays, I give it my best go.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see how it does. I think the team is pretty interesting. It's got some cool stuff going on. So
it feels like a very me-ish team as well. Like it's very similar to like the type of team I would draft myself. I mean, we were saying it through the entire thing. A lot of them I have drafted myself recently.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like, it's very me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we've been rambling for a while now. So let's go ahead and call it here. You want to do an outro, Matrix?
Make sure you check out some of our lovely guest here, Patmac, YouTube channel. He is known as... Well, why don't you just introduce? I know it's Draft 'em All, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a Draft 'em All is the name of the YouTube channel. We could probably put it in the description, right?
We'll put it in the description below. Yeah. Make sure you check out Pat's content. Like he does a lot of draft leagues, not just VGC. He does single as well. So I feel like I should give a shout out to you. Also shout out to some of the other members in my community, like Batista, Miss Mag, and all that, Masenko. They all had a slight contributions here and there to this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, that's it for now. I will hopefully begin the matches in the upcoming few weeks, and you will, well, you know where to find me. So Till then, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.